commend law enforcement and every individual who strove to protect human life, both on that day and throughout the world, and also who are currently now striving to protect human life and are striving for justice. With that said, it is frustrating that the perpetrator has not been caught. I want to preface this with the fact that I'm not a lawyer yet, nor am I an expert in law enforcement or Secret Service. With that said, it is not right that in broad daylight, in front of a crowd of over 3,000 people, an individual can open fire and murder a human being and walk away from it. With that said, it is early in the investigation. It's been about a day at the time of this recording. With that said, it is unacceptable in my opinion. I want to be careful because I am so grateful for law enforcement. My life and everyone watching this episode, our lives have been saved in so many ways that we're not aware of by law enforcement, and I'm so grateful for them. And I do not know half the hell they've seen. Quite frankly, I don't know 99% of the hell they've seen. I don't know everything they do. I don't know the complexities of protecting human life like the experts do. With that said, I right now take religious classes from Utah Valley University. I'm somewhat familiar with the campus. I was also a student at the University of Utah when a Chinese foreign exchange student was murdered less than a decade ago. And in 2018, while also I was studying at the University of Utah, Lauren McCluskey, God bless her soul, was murdered on campus on October 22nd, 2018. Public universities are public spaces, just like public schools are. I was born in Minneapolis. Just weeks ago, 2 children were murdered in Minneapolis. The day of Charlie Kirk's shooting, there was also another school shooting in Colorado. We can stop public school shootings. We the people can. Private schools are a little bit different. And unless we own the school in some capacity, we don't have any authority. It's private property. Public schools we do, though. As United States citizens, as taxpayers, we can. We can stop this. To stop school shootings is very similar. Well, not exactly. Excuse me, it's not very similar to stopping university school shootings. Stopping public school shootings we can do. Charlie Kirk was an incredible leader. He's in the field that I'm just beginning in. I look forward to meeting him in the next life. God be with them until that day. I, in fact, had a ticket to that event that happened yesterday as of the time of this recording. Here is a image of the electronic scanner ticket that I would have used to get in. A very dear friend of mine invited me to go, and where he was standing with his friends, he was only 20 feet away from Charlie Kirk when he was shot. Likely, if I would have went, I would have been 20 feet away. I even had plans to go. Through God's protection, I did not attend that. It pains me that political violence is happening. We have measures to protect ourselves. Yes, we need to take the time to process the pain of this, particularly those who are close to Charlie. Regrettably, I never had the opportunity to meet him. or get close to him. He's someone I would have been honored to have been a friend with. It still pains me, and I can't imagine the pain people close to him are going through. With that said, I know we can stop public school shootings and also shootings on university campuses. Here's how we can do it. Public school shootings, every public school must have only one entrance and one entrance only. Every window must be bulletproof. No exceptions and no excuses. There must be only one entry level into the school, hence that entrance. Vents, air, things like that. We can allow airflow to get out and heat and different things like that and air conditioning to cycle through while also making it impossible for a human being to enter through those. On playgrounds, any place of ground such as on a building or anywhere nearby, we should have eyes on potential targets. There must be open areas around within a reasonable shooting distance. And by reasonable, if a U.S. sniper can do it, it's reasonable. Anywhere near that school, open spaces. There must not be these wooded areas where shooters can hide in or things like that. It pains me. I wish we could live in a society that was not the case, but we don't. Just as we as the human race have adapted and evolved to go from having protections for nuclear weapons, where we must stop nuclear weapons. If we could stop nuclear weapon warfare, Russia would be out of Ukraine this very minute. At least it would be possible for us to get them out without the threat of mutual assured destruction. Before World War II, if you look at warfare, for example, in the Revolutionary War, they used muskets. The first automatic weapon was introduced during the Civil War. The telegraph was introduced during the Civil War. And then trench warfare during the World War I. And then also, during World War II, there's further advancements with tanks, for example. And then helicopters to transport injured individuals. That came during the Korean War. We as humans, we adapt. Evolution is true in the sense species adapt to the different circumstances they're in. For example, I'm from Wisconsin. In the summer, I'm enjoying watching baseball while I was living in Wisconsin in a t-shirt and shorts and having a great time. I would play baseball in the summer without long sleeves on. During the wintertime, I'd wear a coat. I adapted to my environment. God uses evolution to help species go forward and advance and adapt to their circumstances. We as the human race must adapt to our circumstances too. We don't live in a society where public schools are safe. We don't live in a society where political gatherings are safe without precautions. We can make them safe, and with precautions, they are safe. And we must not be living with the motivation of fear. That is not right. In response to this catastrophe, we must not let fear rule us. And we don't have to. Here's how we don't let fear rule us. Public schools, again, one entrance, bulletproof glass, places of playground where children are playing. Within a distance of a U.S. sniper who can shoot, there must be open areas. If it's private property, then from the view of that private property, we must have bulletproof barriers up. It's extreme. Well, human life is extreme. Not a single child attending a public school should be fearing for their life. We can stop this. We don't have to be victims. We can rise above this. Through God's grace, I'm in the process of overcoming my abuse. And to those who have loved ones, or you yourself have been a victim of this crime, please take the time to heal please use the professional and spiritual resources there are to heal. I'm doing it right now. I'm attending therapy once a week typically, and by God's grace, I'm attending church every Sunday. Jesus Christ is a miracle worker, but he also wants us to stand up and do everything we can. If you look at Lazarus, that miracle where he raised Lazarus from the dead, his disciples did everything they could with the clothing and other things. If you look at the scripture in John, that's exactly what happened. His disciples were doing the clothing and lifting up Lazarus and things like that, not raising him from the dead, but doing everything they could. And we need to do the same. And we can do the same. Again, with public schools, we can keep those safe. And it's not complicated. Again, we block out all areas on a public playground, anywhere associated with the school. Either it's impossible for a shooting to occur, such as bulletproof windows, different things, sporting events, a high school football field, different things like that. Make the campuses enclosed so the local community can't look in as easily. We don't have to make it like a prison, but we can make it secure. Prisons, they keep people in. Schools, we're trying to keep people out. That's what we're trying to do. And we can do it. Then of Charlie Kirk, here are the facts. He started the event around 12 noon. Approximately at 12:10 p.m., while answering a question about gun violence perpetrated by transgender activists, he was murdered. It was allegedly, the latest reports have, as of the time of this recording, which is about 6 o'clock p.m. on Friday, September 11th, that a .30-06 was used to shoot him in the neck. And he died shortly after. He was in part of campus that was open to other buildings, and allegedly the shooter is on top of the Lossy Center. I've actually walked by that very spot as I've been on the Utah Valley University campus for various reasons. It's a beautiful courtyard. There's a fountain, and if you look at the videos of witnesses at the scene, I could have been one of them. They're running through that. There's a beautiful water fountain there. They're running through that, and there's a courtyard, and there was thousands. There's over 3,000 people there. And what's infuriating, there's only 6 university police officers on staff, and as far as we know, there's nobody on the rooftops, at least carefully scanning. Well, even if they were carefully scanning, it wasn't enough to prevent this. And if you look at it, there could have been military personnel on the rooftops to stop this. And there weren't. I don't know all the reasons, so perhaps I'm naive, but, I am naive in this. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, and I do not want to demean law enforcement officers. I greatly respect them. My life has been saved in ways I'm not aware of through law enforcement officers. It is an honorable profession, and I want to support it to the best of my ability. With that said, and it's not incompatible with my reverence and my admiration for law enforcement, this should not have happened. Just as in 2024, just last year in Butler, Pennsylvania, that shooting at President Donald J. Trump, who at the time was going to be president, should not have happened. We can stop this. At events on public universities, if there is at least an armed security guard on top of either all those buildings that could see down at a reasonable shooting distance opportunity at Charlie Kirk, either all those buildings or they have eyes on all those buildings. Perhaps they have 3 officers on one, where one's looking at this side, the other's looking at the north, east, west, south, etc. At University of Utah events, such as football games, they do have law enforcement officers. I was working at the University of Utah Law School my senior year of college. And at a University of Utah football game, I was working because we had an event at the law school. There's literally 2 police officers at the law school, which is across the street from the football stadium, making sure everything was safe. If they're doing it at football games, we can do it at political events. We can do it when people are exercising their First Amendment rights. It's wonderful we protect at football games, and we can do it at other public events. We must do it. As a human race, we've evolved where we have a society now where at public gatherings it is not safe. Before there was weaponry, yes. To an extent, sure, someone could stab, etc. People can still stab. We are at a time where open fire is a serious concern. I retract that. Yes, there were dangerous people at events. People could stab, people could use physical violence before weaponry. But right now, there's way too many shootings. That is the paramount concern when you go to a public event. An open fire. By God's will, I'm going to have events at universities in the future. What I'm going to call for, every individual must go through a screening. I am pro-Second Amendment. My career is going to be fighting to defend that. Not exclusively, but that's part of my career. I'm a passionate believer in the Second Amendment. And by God's grace, I'm going to protect my wife one day and children one day through my Second Amendment rights. I have a responsibility to God to do it. However, if anyone's going to come to my events with a gun, we're going to have security personnel and eyes on that individual at all times. Once an open event like that, open meaning not enclosed in a building, I'm going to call, and more than call, I'm going to ensure there are eyes on every single rooftop so there's not another rooftop sniper ever again. Any other place where a sniper can sneak in, there's going to be security right there. We as humans have incredible capabilities. And we can use these capabilities for good to protect other people. Let's do it. Because we can do it. We can hope. Yes, it is a dark, somber time. It hurt me so much. I can't imagine people who are actually close to Charlie Kirk. It is healthy to take time to process this emotionally, spiritually, in all the ways. I'm still processing it. But we can also be hopeful. We can ensure there's never another public school shooting again. We can ensure there's not a political shooting if people take certain precautions. Same with school shootings. To those who are hurting, are feeling really dark, keep the light. Keep hope. We can stand for freedom. We can stand for human life and not let any more abortions happen, not let any more government intervention to stop life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on individuals who are not infringing on the rights of others. We can have a strong military, and we can eradicate our national debt. We can stand up to China. We can allow prayers to be done in schools. We can preserve the sanctity of marriage between one man and one woman. We can allow all children of God to have the freedom of their pursuit of happiness, their freedom for life and liberty, including free speech. Everything that Charlie Kirk fought for, gave his life for, we can carry it on. We must carry it on. For as it's been said, for evil to exist, good men and good women must do nothing. And the time is now to act. Not violently, not infringing on any right of another human being, but acting in a way that's in line with the U.S. Constitution, that preserves life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We can do it. Charlie Kirk, it's not goodbye. It's until we see you again. I am grateful for what you've taught me. I'm grateful for your courage. I'm grateful for the wonderful family you've left, who will see you again, just like I'm going to see you for the first time in the next life. Because of Jesus Christ, we will see you again. There's hope. And your future, Charlie, is very bright. God be with you.